Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SRT International HistoriX Runoff. We have a very special event where 4 of the best sim racers in the world will compete head-to-head in a cutthroat battle for the HistoriX Cup. Today's setting, Le Mans 1972, a track that is known for its dangerous lack of runoff and extremely fast and narrow sections. It should make for some very interesting racing. But before we get to that, let's introduce today's drivers. First up, a man so mean only his mother could love him, and that is still debatable. Hailing from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, it's Bob Smokin' Simmerman. Bob will be in the Corvette Stingray using the all-American power. Next up, rumored to be so ferocious that he was shipped here in a cage and had to be quarantined at the docks. From down under and through the outback, it's Leonardo the Stash Ockel. Len has equipped himself with the beautifully styled Mercedes 300. And now it's the California Kid. He comes in at 5 foot 5 inches tall and maybe a hair over 6 foot with the fro. Traveling across the big pond to be here, it's Cole, don't call me little. Cole will be driving in the Ford Capri. Sophisticated, pompous, stylish, and a born winner describes our final contestant. Born in Milan, Italy, but hailing from Monte Carlo, it's Dario Gongini, the heavy favorite and 6-time Historic Cup winner. And as usual, Dario will be driving the Ferrari that he has made famous. Well, the stage is set, the cars are on the grid, and the lights are ready to go green for this race. The drivers are revving up the engines, and away they go! All 4 cars get a good jump and are flying into turn 1. Who is going to get the lead coming out? Gongini is making a bold inside move, and oh my God! Oh no! Gongini has taken out the whole field! What a tragedy! Well, all the cars are stopped, and it looks like Len Ockel has won the race by a stash.
Hey everyone, Len Ockel for SRT. There's a new mod out for rFactor called HistoriX, so if you're in the muscle cars from the 60s and 70s, this mod's for you.
Well, we joke and we played around quite a bit over here over HistoriX, but that's because how can you not get excited? I've owned GT Legends by Sim Factory for many years, and driving older cars has always been one of my favorite things about sim racing. Simbin did a fantastic job with that sim, but we always want more, right? What about all the great tracks for rFactor? Well, HistoriX at first look solves that problem. It offers the GT Legends cars, but within rFactor. Now I can run some of my favorite classic cars at virtually any track. That sounds like a lot, or certainly more than most mods, but I'm telling you, the HistoriX mod team went way beyond that here. Let's start to break down this mod, and I will let you know how far they have gone.
Guys, the amount of cars in this mod is incredible. You've got Mustangs, you've got Corvettes, you've got Ferraris, you've got Cortinas, you've got Minis. There's just too many for me to go on.
It would be hard to think of a classic car from back in the late 60s and early 70s that is not included in HistoriX. On top of that many makes, there are also over 250 liveries or paint jobs, making choosing your favorite of that car much more fun. And I don't care what car model you pick to take a look at or drive on the track, but these are some of the best looking models ever. It's like going to a historic car auction or race and actually getting to drive these now hard to find classic cars. When we talk about great models, it doesn't end at the exteriors. The best way to really take in the great interiors of the cars is using my Track IR. Normally I wouldn't throw an ad in the show, but since we have a special deal going on, you can get 20 bucks off a Track IR on our site. Just click on the Track IR banner to receive that deal. Looking down, you're going to see the pedals, the dashboard, and door panels that increase to the nostalgic era of this mod. I will say that 40 out of 40 cars here are visually outstanding. Now, most of these cars came directly from GTL, but GTL doesn't directly import into rFactor. This required completely new physics from scratch to maintain the quality of these cars. The guys of the Historic mod team went and consulted with some real-life drivers of these classic cars. They got their feedback, their real data from the cars, and refined the physics to match those drivers' real-life knowledge of the cars. Fire up a mod, and immediately you will feel the results of all that work. These cars come from an era of good horsepower, very little downforce, excessive weight, and lousy tires. I have to say it, but that's what makes driving these cars so much fun. The cars take a while to slow down, they're heavy. The end result is a car that has a tremendous amount of understeer or tightness or push going into the corners. the tire's doing everything they can to try to hold on. And on exit, we're talking about good old muscle car power, or European tuning, and getting the rear end to swing around can be done with the greatest of fun.
These are cars, they're not overloaded with downforce. You really have to drive them, and by driving them you appreciate them more.
And the next topic of the HistoriX mod would be the sound.
And every one of them has an individual physics and individual sound.
I'm a sucker for a fat American V8, and if you get into any of the cars, your sound system will blow you away. Switch things over to a Ferrari or to a Porsche, and you will recognize the difference immediately. High revs and smaller motors getting similar results with less thump. One of my favorite things about old school racing was how it allowed for so many different types of vehicles to compete at the same time. Years of homogenizing and sanctioning racing, and all the cars have become the same in racing today. But this mod will take you back to the days of unique design, both in sight and sound.
Virtually everybody in the community has been catered for in this mod. There's championships for all around the world for that era to be incorporated into this mod. If you look into the RFM, you'll find links to the tracks to download them for your country so you can run your own championships.
GT Legends was an awesome sim. HistoriX, the GTL creation for rFactor, is also awesome, but it will find its critics. In order to utilize the mod, you must actually own the GT Legends title. The mod will use the original disc prior to installation and to make sure that you own GTL. This is to give credit where credit is due, and it's Simbin that made these models. No stealing of cars here. It is the ability to use those cars in rFactor. Fair is fair, and a great way for the HistoriX mod team to bring it to us and still respect Simbin.
Okay guys, there you have it. This mod's incredible. I'd like to firstly thank the HistoriX mod group for letting me try this mod out. It's fantastic guys, great job.
But if you're a 60s and a 70s racing fan like myself and like Len, then this is a must-have. And so is GT Legends. So head over to rFactor Central, get your copy of HistoriX, and relive the 60s yourself. I'm Sean Cole for SRT.